I'm going to be perfectly honest. I had no clue what to really expect out of the Chicago Bears in Week 17. Had no clue whatsoever. None. It's a road game, divisional opponent. Said divisional opponent, the Minnesota Vikings, has a simple task ahead of them. Win, and they're in the playoffs. Win, and they play the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field in the wild card round. The Bears technically have something to play for, but in reality, knowing the Rams are playing the 49ers and it's in LA, even without Gurley, it's like they're probably going to win that game, and we found out they won it very comfortably. So I'm like, are the Bears going to really be motivated here? How long is Nagy going to stick with the starters? Let's pray there aren't any super serious injuries for this really good Bears team that is a contender. I have no idea. The Bears could come out and play their backups and play tough but lose. They come out, play their starters all game and win. Or they can play and just not really be into it and the Vikings kind of run over them. I didn't know what to expect. But my God, was I impressed with what I saw on Sunday. I was super impressed. For the Chicago Bears to go on the road, which at times has been a struggle for them this year, against a divisional team that had everything to play for, when the Bears had already clinched a playoff spot. They've already clinched the division, meaning they've clinched a home playoff game. And to go into Minnesota like that and thoroughly kick the shit out of the Vikings, and let's say what it was. The score of the game does not indicate the level of ass-whooping that the Bears delivered on the Vikings on Sunday. Period. That was impressive stuff from the Bears. Trubisky had a clutch game. To me, that was a clutch game. You know, it's kind of one of those things you hold your breath a little bit. The fact that he's playing this whole game, especially when you get to the second half and he realizes this game doesn't mean a whole lot other than trying to block the Vikings from the playoffs. But Trubisky didn't take any super big hits, stayed healthy, made some nice plays, didn't make any really bad mistakes. It was a good performance for him in a tough spot. Road game like that. I was impressed. The offense was good enough. The defense was outstanding. You know, other than who I'm going to call now Doink the Clown, Cody Parkey, doinking yet another one off the fucking uprights. WWE, I know Matt Bourne's dead, but Doink lives. His name is Cody Parkey, for Christ's sakes. This was a really impressive win for the Bears, and hopefully the injuries to Taylor Gabriel and Anthony Miller, I think Gabriel was ribs and Anthony Miller's was the shoulder. Both those guys will be fine and be able to play next week. They'll get hopefully Allen Robinson back next week. For the Chicago Bears to get to this point in time, playing that game, which ended up not really meaning much in the grand scheme of things, and be able to come out of it relatively unscathed, and you got Kyle Long back, and he's healthy now. The Bears have a lot of good feeling and momentum heading into the playoffs, and I like it. I like it a lot. As far as from the Vikings standpoint, yeah, this is ugly. You go from an NFC Championship game last year, coming off of that Minneapolis Miracle, where if you win against the Eagles, who are trotting out a backup quarterback, you get to stay in town and 2 weeks later host the Super Bowl. To now you come back the next year after signing Kirk Cousins to that guaranteed $84 million contract, and you go out there and lay the fucking egg that you did. Now, granted, it's going to be easy to blast Kirk Cousins because he was bad. He absolutely was. And his performance against teams with a winning record, very Stat Padford-like. Very much so. It was eerily reminiscent of a couple of years ago, and I think I even talked about this in the Week 17 Picks video. It was reminiscent to me of when the Giants went into Washington a couple of years ago. Giants really had nothing to play for. They were already in the playoffs. The Redskins, it was a win, and they're in. And they went out there and laid an egg, and Cousins played a bad game. And that's basically what happened here. And I promise you, Cousins deserves plenty of grief. But the play calling stinks. That defense stunk. And they were talking about it in commentary during the game. You know, last year in the NFC Championship game, that Vikings defense got shredded by Nick Foles. This time around, they kind of got shredded again. They didn't show up when their team really needed them to the most, which to me is a bit of a reflection on Mike Zimmer. The play calling was not great. Your big money quarterback stunk, and your defense acted like they're overrated as hell. They stunk too. So this is going to be a long offseason for the Vikings with a lot of soul searching and a lot of questions, with the reality being that they pretty much are who they are and don't have a lot of room to change things or shake shit up. They better figure it out, as their window is slipping by. This is a bad, bad loss. Now, I know some people out there are saying, well, you're happy you beat the Vikings. You're glad you beat the Vikings. But be careful what you wish for. Here come the Eagles. Ah! 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 Fly, Eagles, fly. They're going to run right into the fucking Mac attack. Bear down bitches. What the hell are the Bears supposed to do? Go out there and intentionally lose the game in Week 17? So that way they've now given some confidence to Minnesota? A team that's even more familiar with them? Please, give me a fucking break. And as far as I'm concerned, if the Bears want to truly be champions this year, which some of you don't want to give them credit for, they do have that chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm not going to say it's not going to happen either. What better way to start that run than against the defending champions and kick the shit out of them Sunday in Soldier Field? No, bring on the fucking Eagles. The Bears did what they were supposed to do. They played to win the game. And that's exactly what the fuck they did. No regrets. None whatsoever. You handle business and worry about next week. Because this reminds me a lot of 2010 when the Bears had a chance in Week 17 to win and keep the Packers out of the playoffs. And they didn't do so. Guess what? It came back to bite them in the ass in the NFC Championship game in Soldier Field, and the Packers go on to the win to the Super Bowl that year. Not this time. Not this time. This time it's different. This time it was different. You sit there and fuck around with that stuff, and that's when that comes and bites you in the ass, and then all of a sudden Kirk Cousins has this non-Kirk Cousins-like game. He's actually good when it matters, and the Vikings beat the Bears. And then it's going to be like, oh, how come the Bears benched their starters in the second half? How come they didn't beat these guys, keep them out when they had the chance? At this point in time, the Bears' standpoint should be, whoever it is, wherever it is, we have no fear, bear down, bring it on, bitch! I have no fear of the Eagles. Why should I? They're defending champions and get their ass whooped just like anybody else. And even if the Bears do lose to the Eagles on Sunday, so what? There's no guarantee that the result would have been any different if the Vikings were the ones playing the Bears in the wild card round. No. The Bears played their starters as they should have. They were rewarded with an impressive victory and a relatively healthy team coming out of that game. I feel like the football gods will reward them. Matt Nagy made the right call, period. Bring on the Eagles. EDP, the rest of the crew. Bring it on! Our asses are going to go on the endangered species list. Fly, Eagles, fly! It's going to be a bear down mauling on Sunday.